do you go today for business education? If you're online, you'll notice that a lot of business growth advice online, easy to find, but it's geared towards people who have created branding companies. They've built personal brands. They are influencers. They've mastered affiliate marketing. Maybe they're doing online coaching, some sort of online education, but they're working from laptops. Maybe they have teams. Maybe they're very, very successful. Many of them are. But those are very different business models from those of us who run brick and mortar businesses, Main Street businesses. We're talking about the cafés, the salons, the boutiques, the florist, the dentist office. We deal with real people every day. We're not dealing with clicks and funnels. We're dealing with real people every day. So if it's not clicks, if it's not leads, if it's not funnels, that changes everything. With Main Street businesses, your reputation matters. Their experience while they're in your location matters. The smell matters. If you've cleaned matters. Your bathroom matters. Consistency matters. Staff matter. The energy matters. The vibe matters. All these things matter at a very different level. Everything's tangible. All 5 senses are stimulated when someone is in your brick and mortar, when they're in your physical business. Online businesses don't have to worry about those things. Online businesses don't have to worry if there's clean towels in the bathroom. You can't rely on things like automation when someone walks into your business frustrated. And you certainly can't scale past a bad customer experience in a small town. The one thing I will say all the time, I will say this repeatedly, you definitely cannot build sustainable growth if you have a revolving door mentality. That is next lead, next lead, next lead, lead generation. That is a revolving door mentality, and that does not work in brick and mortar businesses. We're talking the mom and pop shops, again, the florists, the dentists, the cafes. To be direct, this is one of the biggest disconnects I see on the online space when they are giving business advice, because it doesn't apply to brick and mortar businesses. So much of it does not apply to brick and mortar businesses. The business online, their advice is more leads, more traffic, build a bigger audience, viral content. How do you go viral? And listen, new customers matter. I'm going to talk a bit more about sustainable growth. When I'm talking about businesses and our growth, I'm talking about sustainable growth. And I also want you to like where you work. I want you to love your job. I want you to love your small business. Every time I'm teaching, every time I'm talking, I will say, you'll hear me say it all the time, helping build happy and sustainable businesses, happy and sustainable communities. When you build a business that you love, you bring in like-minded people. You bring in your ideal clientele. You know who ideal clientele? Do you know who they have? Like-minded people. You only really, to build a business that you love, you only want to focus on your ideal clients, and you want to know who their friends are. You want to know who their family is. You want to get those people in the door. So when you're looking to get help and you go online, you're getting their advice, when they're focusing so much on new leads, new customers, client acquisition, new followers, going viral. That entire business model is focused on replacing existing customers. Again, that revolving door mentality. It's exhausting. It's not sustainable. It's a revolving door business. And in my experience, my personal experience, and watching other Main Street businesses that are successful, that's not how they operate. They do not operate with a revolving door mentality. You know what they're built on? Relationships, retention, referrals, trust, community, and consistency. They grow because customers come back. They grow because customers buy their next product, their next supportive product, because they're thinking about who their customers are and what they can do to better serve those customers. So they bring in new things, complementary products. They even have other businesses that complement that business to nurture their existing customer. They also then grow because their customers talk. Their customers become advocates for them in their business. Overall, they're growing because their customer, their ideal customer, feels connected to them. And if you think I'm wrong, think about one business model that most likely, maybe not 100%, but most likely has really frustrated you and you've probably left. The bank business model. Banks are designed leads. All they talk about are leads, and when are they getting the next lead? Once they get you in there, they'll do all kinds of things. They'll make you offers. They'll do all sorts of things to get you in. But once they get you in, they forget about you. Half the time, the person who was taking care of your accounts is gone, went on to the next job, because if you know anything about banking, that's the only way they really get promoted is by leaving the institution, going to another one, and the other institution might, have them back, and it's this whole game because the only way they can grow is by leaving. So the very, to speak about revolving door, even with their own employees, it's high turnover in banking. They forget about their existing clients and nurturing the ones who are consistent, who have kept their mortgage with them, who have kept their accounts with them, who've paid on time consistently. Very few rewards, very few promotions are for the loyal, wonderful customer who's been with them for 18 years. Banks have a revolving door mentality. I've worked with them for years. It was one of my biggest frustrations, why we were spending so much time trying to acquire new customers when our own are being neglected. We did not, I said I would never go back to the banks. I was so unbelievably frustrated with the banks. Our principles do not align. My brand is very different. So if you likely have had a negative experience with the bank, you feel like your only way to be heard is to leave, why would you copy their business model? It doesn't work. You know it doesn't work. You have felt it. It doesn't work. Revolving door, focusing on leads doesn't work. Focusing on audiences, focusing on going viral, they're called vanity metrics for a reason. There is some social proof that's provided when you go onto an Instagram account or you go onto a Facebook account or you go onto a YouTube page and you see thousands of followers. You're thinking, okay, this person must be liked. And that is true. There is truth to that. But the amount of followers that someone has, the amount of subscribers that someone has does not equal dollars. It's not monetary. It's not a direct translation as to how much money they're making or if they're actually a successful business. And most successful businesses have focused for the last 15 years on building an email list, not a platform that they don't own. Building something on rented land, building something on Instagram is building something on rented land. It's building a house on sand foundation. I have been talking about email list building since before I opened my very first brick and mortar. I focused on email when only Constant Contact was really the only real one that was available to us. This is before even MailChimp was a thing. Have you ever heard about know, like, and trust? That is why your existing clientele is your secret to growth in your business. They already know you, they already like you, they already trust you. All you have to do now is keep them interested, keep giving them something to come back for, and give them the tools that they need to advocate for you to make it a seamless transaction. Make it so easy for them to talk about you and share that information. Give them something tangible that they can hand to a friend. Make the moment that they're already talking about you, they're already bragging about you, make it so easy for them to refer you. Make it so easy for that friend or that family member that they're talking to. Give them some incentive to come in and actually see you, not wait 6 months or a year. Get in to see you like next week. This is one of the most important reasons I developed the Main Street method. The whole idea of know, like, trust, and then turning that customer into an advocate for you is the essence of the Main Street method. Marketing gets so confused. People say marketing. They think they posted on Instagram. It was a successful marketing campaign. They think they had more real watches, more views on. It was a successful marketing campaign. That's not marketing. Posting is not marketing. Marketing, when you think about marketing, it's a process. You're putting something out there, you're reviewing it, you're seeing what worked, what didn't work, and then you're repeating. You're doing it again. You're seeing what worked, what didn't work. You take things away, you try something new, and you repeat. And you have to look at how many customers you got in. How do you determine whether something was successful or not? By how many views you got? What do views have anything to do with your business? Money is what makes your business. Unless you're just having a vanity project. I'm not talking about vanity projects. I'm talking to real business owners who need customers to come into their door, and not 6 months from now, not a year from now, tomorrow. They need to go on to their appointment book and see that appointments are happening, not someone downloaded a freebie. Even though that might help build the email list, and I'm totally for that, but we're talking about brick and mortar businesses who actually need people to come into their businesses, get their services, buy their products. I refer to it as full circle marketing. It is that customer experience from the moment that they come in to your business, the moment that they leave the business, and whether they are talking about you or not, and how are they talking about you? Are they bringing people in? Full circle marketing. A lot of times too, I'll see marketing where it doesn't even match the business. They hired a company, they did some stuff, they did some dances, they did things over here, different. Okay, so when I come into your business, I'm going to be like, well, the branding, again, misunderstanding even what branding is, but we'll use the words that I hear all the time. The branding didn't match. They're all, professional photos and professional editing and all these things, and they walk into a little brick and mortar business and it's like the colors don't even correspond. It doesn't connect. Everything that you're doing needs to represent your business, who you are, from the moment they even see something that you're running, a marketing campaign, to the moment they walk in, to the moment they leave, to everything needs to flow with that customer experience. Main Street businesses also have something very unique. They have the human connection. This is where people come in and they want to feel remembered. They love feeling like they know the owner, or hey Joe, how are you today? That's something very special about Main Street businesses that really only Main Street businesses have. Real brick and mortar businesses have. You can kind of fake it with email templates. Hey Chris, how are you? And I get an email, I think, oh, do they actually write to me personally? But after however many newsletters that I'm getting in, no, I realize it's just a template. But when you walk into a Main Street business and your order's known, they remember they remember your vacation, they remember your kids' names, they talk about how you felt the last time you left, did you like the service? Think about your best experience in a salon, in a cafe, at a restaurant. Think about those experiences and how you were made to feel. That's why local businesses matter. That's why the customer experience matters so much. And this is why when you're looking for education, you're looking for someone to help you with your brick and mortar small business, someone who has a lot of experience talking about algorithms are only going to get you so far. So no, I'm not going to be the person screaming at you, more leads, more leads. I'm not going to be that person. I'm going to be the person coming in, checking out your operations. I'm going to be asking you questions about what campaign did you put out? How did the customer feel? What did they experience the moment they walked into your business? Tell me about the service. Tell me about what it took to buy the product. How were they treated at checkout? Were they given tools? Were they given something, an incentive to share their experience? What was done to re-invite them? Because we're not talking about revolving doors. We're talking about re-invitations. What tool were they given? What incentive were they given? Come back and advocate for your business. I'm Chris McIntosh. I talk about Main Street businesses and I make it easy. This is why my program is called Main Street Made Easy and why I teach the Main Street method.